Hello. Okay, I think this is working now. Guys, I messed up multiple times. Um is this streaming? Okay, yes. YouTube has really let me down today. Or I just let myself down. I feel like I figured this out the first time, but this time around I really struggled to start live stream. I started it a couple times and then had to stop it. But we're here. We are here today cooking some food in my kitchen. I'm also going to start live on Instagram right now. So give me a moment, please. My dudes, what is up? Welcome. I'm going to be cooking today. I did some movie magic and pre-prepared some of the ingredients that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be showing you guys today how I make my famous, if I can call it that, amongst my friends, Harissa Cauliflower wraps, bowls. You can enjoy it any which way you want. It's just going to be a bunch of things enjoying with pita. Hello, thank you for joining us from New York. I guess one thing I should mention, I do not have my hood vent on over my oven right now because I thought it would be really noisy. So my plan was to crack open a window, but here in Ontario, it is very cold. I think it's like minus 13 degrees outside today, so I was not about to do that. So I have my HRV unit on up here, and I'm hoping that will be sufficient. And I've got the ceiling fan on, but it is what it is. Hello, hey everyone. Joining on YouTube. I'm also streaming on Instagram simultaneously. If you want to hop on either platform, feel free to join us from there. So my oven is preheating right now to 425. So if any of you want to follow along, please feel free to do so. I planned a bunch of things that didn't work out. One, here, for anyone who's following on YouTube, I have an external camera that I set up and it just won't register. It is not noticing that my other camera is plugged in. So I hope this angle isn't too annoying. I'm not going to be moving either camera while I'm moving over to the oven. So I'll just make sure that I'm projecting my voice this way. Let me know if you have difficulty hearing me at any point, and I will try to speak louder or more clearly or try to turn off any of the background noise that is going on. It seems like everyone's good though. So I will also confess that I pre-sliced some shallots ahead of time because I didn't want you to see me cry on camera. I have very sensitive eyes to onions and shallots as much as I love them and use them all the time. But yeah, I get very teary. So I set those up ahead of time. So I'm just going to dive right in. Looks like some of you are joining us now. So I will show you some of the ingredients, at least for the first two things that we're going to be putting in the oven. I'm not cooking anything on the stovetop in this meal that I'm preparing. So everything's going to be done in the oven. If you're just joining us now, 425 is what the oven is preheated to. Thank you. Thank you for leaving comments. Yeah, it's okay. It is what it is. All right, so I prepared some things ahead of time so that you didn't have to watch me cut things. So I have one head of cauliflower that I just kind of broke up into pieces. You can break it up into smaller pieces if you want. It's really up to you. Like bite-sized pieces, perfectly fine. I don't even chop them with a knife. I just break it up with my hands. I got some shallots here. This is 3 whole shallots. You could also use red onion if you don't have any. And I have some fresh garlic that I minced. It's hard to show to both cameras at the same time. You can definitely use, pre-minced garlic if that's easier for you. I like to use the fresh stuff just because I feel like it tastes better. I think I got a piece of skin in there. Nice. This is 3 whole cloves of garlic. Use more, use less, to your taste, whatever you want. The star of the show today is Harissa, which is a spice blend. A lot of times you'll find it in a paste form if you buy it at a store. That is not it. Here it is. So much for my nice spice organizing system, and I can't figure out what's what. Harissa. Well, it's backwards on the camera for you guys. But I buy this at a bulk barn. I have another jar up on the drawer here because I use it really quickly. I'll probably use this whole container for what I'm cooking today. So this is a blend. If you don't have harissa pre-made, paprika, cumin, coriander, caraway seeds, chili flakes, chili powder, something spicy, cayenne pepper, any combination of those things you can kind of mix up and make something very similar to what I have here. Okay, so I'm gonna dive in, guys. Basically, I'm gonna put into the cauliflower the alliums, the harissa, salt, pepper, and some olive oil. I like to coat the veggies with olive oil first and then just kind of toss it up a little bit before I put any powder. It just kind of helps it stick to the surface a little bit better. If anyone's going to ask me, where's the recipe? Give me the recipe. Remember when I said I had plans? I had planned today to tell you guys that my recipe website is ready, and now you can follow the link here to follow this recipe. But it's not done. What I'm trying to embrace this year is more than I usually do. I think I'm pretty good at this, but I can always be better. Is learning how to be patient with myself, especially because, look, this whole food blog thing, I'm just putting the garlic in with the cauliflower. This is not a plan to make money. This is not a monetizable goal. I'm not going to have ads on the website, at least for the foreseeable future. I'm just doing this for fun. And if it becomes stressful, then it's not fun. So pretty simple ethos here. I want the site to look nice, but I'm also not trying to be a perfectionist with it. Like originally I wanted at least 3 recipes before I released the blog, but now I'm like 2 is fine. Maybe even 1 would be fine. Because I don't want to stop myself from putting it out there and sharing with you guys. I love talking about food and would love a platform where I can do that in a dedicated way. But I also don't want to, stay up late to work on this website. I work on websites all day. So that's kind of how it panned out. But I promise within at most 2 weeks, I will have a link to share with you for this recipe. I will, on the folks on YouTube, I will have a link in the video description when the recipe is live. Okay, so I'm pouring my harissa on here. I think I said I would put salt and pepper on this, but you might notice me sneezing any moment now because this spice blend is very peppery. My nose is tingling already. So I'm not going to add pepper to this, but I will add salt. All right, and that's it. I mean, it looks easy when everything's pre-chopped ahead of time, but that is pretty much it for the cauliflower. So now I'm going to put this on a baking sheet. I use a reusable silicone Silpat, I believe it's called. Silicone baking sheet. All right. I'm just going to pour the cauliflower out here and make sure any leftover spices in the bowl gets put in here. And I'm going to keep this dirty bowl because I'm going to use it for the sweet potatoes next. All right, so like I said, the oven is preheated to 425. Just going to kind of spread this out a little bit. So I'm going to pop these guys in the oven, and then I'm going to turn on a timer for 15 minutes. Sorry, I disappeared from Instagram. 15 minutes, at which point I'm going to toss it up a little bit, make sure that it's cooking evenly. I'm going to put this in the bottom rack and hope that I don't trigger my very sensitive fire alarm. It might happen because my hood stove vent thing is not on. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, so now in this bowl, there's a little bit of harissa left, but that's not a big deal. If we get some of that on the sweet potatoes, I think that's perfectly fine. So I cut the sweet potatoes into matchsticks, fry. It's a fry shape, okay? So this will help them cook more evenly, get a little more crispy and not soft. Although I love soft sweet potatoes. Actually, my favorite way to cook sweet potatoes. It's super lazy, but it tastes amazing. You literally just put them on a baking sheet straight in the oven. I don't do anything to it. I don't poke holes in it. I don't cut it. I don't wash the skin. And just let it cook at like a really high temperature, like 425. And then for like half an hour. And then you just peel the skin off. And it's very soft. You could like easily mash it when you cook it that way, but it's delicious. I love it with lots of hot sauce. I have a rant about hot sauce, but I'll get back to that. I'll get back to that in a minute when I have time filler. And if I forget, someone let me know in a comment. Yeah, steamed sweet potatoes, yes. There's so many different ways to cook sweet potatoes. Like, they're good any which way. But I am going to coat these with a little bit of olive oil. Don't need a lot, but also I'm Portuguese, so my idea of a lot of olive oil is, I think, much higher than most people. My idea of a little is maybe higher than most people. All right, so the way I like to season my sweet potato fries, very simple. 2 things. Chili powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper, obviously. We'll get there. That's it. I'm going to use like 1 tablespoon of each. This is a very large sweet potato. So what I'm making, I should have said at the beginning, is going to serve like 2 people. I'm just cooking for myself tonight, so I'm going to have leftovers for lunch tomorrow. The cauliflower and the sweet potato are great as leftovers. And then what I'm going to be making after this is a sauce, one of my favorite sauces, which is a tahini-based sauce. And I have some store-bought hummus. You can also make tzatziki. I will definitely share my tzatziki recipe eventually. One day. I always make it fresh. I think it's way better than any one that I've tried store-bought. It's very easy to make. I'm just not making it today because I feel like tahini and hummus are enough, sufficient. One rogue, 5-second rule, all right? It's on my counter. It'll be fine. All right. And then I'm going to make a little, basically like a simple Greek salad, tomato, cucumber, red onion, a little feta cheese, and call it a day. The feta cheese is the only thing that I'm using today that is not vegan. So of course you can skip that if you want, or substitute it for a vegan cheese. If you want to make tzatziki with like a plant-based yogurt, you can totally do that. Vegan friendly. Okay, so another trick that I will show you that I use to make sweet potato fries, a little more crispy. Excuse me while I rearrange everything in my cupboard. Exaggerating a little bit. I do this method with zucchini as well, because you know some people don't like zucchini or eggplant because they feel like it's kind of mushy. If you cook on a wire rack like this that's suspended a little bit higher than your baking sheet. Sorry, I'm trying to do this for both YouTube and Instagram at the same time. It's a little challenging. There's like a gap between the rack and the bottom. So some of the liquid will kind of pool under there, so it won't sit in its own juices, if you will, which will help them be a little more crispy. So I'm gonna attempt to evenly space these out so that they're not touching each other. Sorry, Caroline, I kind of missed the fullness of your comment. You've been meaning to buy tahini. That's okay. It's okay. I will definitely share like a synopsis of the recipe on Instagram. So if you can't follow along today, you can make this for yourself another day. I always have at least one jar of tahini in my fridge and one backup in my pantry because I never want to be without tahini. It's like a staple food item for me. So if any of you aren't familiar with tahini, it's a sesame paste. It's like peanut butter, but sesame seeds. So obviously if you're allergic to sesame, stay away from it. I have made something kind of similar with like cashew butter. If I wouldn't use peanut butter because it's too flavorful. Cashew is a little more like neutral, I guess, in flavor. But we're gonna be, if you saw the photo on that I used on the thumbnail and also on my last post on Instagram, I was like drizzling the sauce on top. So if you've ever had tahini as like a dressing, it'll be very thin. But if you make it as like a dip, it'll be a little bit like a thicker paste consistency. You can dilute it to get it to the consistency that you want. So I'm going to show you that right now. Sweet potatoes are going in. I forgot to turn a timer on for the cauliflower. So I'm going to do that now. All right, 15 minutes has begun. And you know what else has begun? This pile of dirty dishes in my sink. As always, the joys of living without a dishwasher. Okay, so next up is the tahini sauce. Another thing I love about this recipe is that there's so many different substitutes and different ways you can make it based on what you have available to you. But if you ask me, there is no substitute for the tahini. Again, you can use cashew butter if you're like allergic to sesame. I've made it with cashew butter, but I use sesame oil in that case. So you're still getting some sort of sesame flavor. This is a brand new bottle because I just finished one earlier today. Had some for my lunch. One way that I use, and you can do this with peanut butter too, when you have like a little bit left in the jar before you're ready to throw it out, you can make a dressing in the jar and then like shake it up. And then it helps you reduce the waste a little bit. Where do you get cashew butter? I just buy this at like the discount grocery store near me. Maybe it's because I like the region in which I live. I've never had difficulty finding tahini. Cashew butter is a little bit harder. I have to go to a different, the higher end grocery store, the more expensive one that I wouldn't buy my. Why am I struggling to open this right now? There you go. There's a more expensive grocery store that I don't go to on a daily basis, but I will get like kombucha there because I can't find that at the low tier. I don't know what you call it. The one that price matches everybody. That's the one that I go to regularly, and they always have tahini. It's no problem. It might be in like the ethnic food aisle. I hate to use that word. It's very commonly used in like Greek food, Middle Eastern food, that Mediterranean, Middle East region. This one's definitely a Greek brand. So like any kind of natural, I'm not going to be able to show you YouTube. I'm sorry. Maybe I can show you like this. There's a natural like oil separation going on. Where do I like to get my tahini? Yeah, just the regular ass grocery store, guys. Like nothing fancy. But underneath the oil is the paste. So let me get a nice spoonful to show you here. I didn't think I'd be talking so much about tahini, to be honest. I thought it was like a regular thing, but that's okay. We're all learning something new, so that's cool. It's almost like a peanut butter consistency. I got a little bit of the oil in here too. So I'm going to use like 2 heaping tablespoons. I will say, if you're like watching your weight, tahini is very high in calories. I think it's like good calories, if that's a thing. It's kind of like, olive oil is like good fat, it's tahini's very high in fat too. Let me just, you know what? No, I'm not going to read the nutrition facts. Here's about that. It's good stuff. Okay, so I have a little mixing bowl here. Got my tahini in here. So now we need some sort of acid. So you can use apple cider vinegar. You can use lemons, which is what I'm going to use. I feel like rice wine vinegar or like balsamic vinegar might be too flavorful. Red wine vinegar might work. I've never tried it. But apple cider vinegar and lemons are great. And I got another little secret for you guys. Let me just get my lemon. This is a jar of pickled beets in like a brine. So obviously they use vinegar to store the beets. And I like to pour a little bit of this. Did you guys see that? Am I hallucinating? Oh, there's little flames on Instagram. I love it. Okay. Thought I was literally losing my mind. I'm like, what is behind me right now? Thank you. Thank you for the emojis. Okay. So I'm using a little bit of beet liquid in here. So it's going to give it like a beautiful pink color, but it's also like a nice vinegary acid punch, which is really nice. Totally optional. Again, you can just use any like apple cider, even white vinegar probably would work fine. And then I'm going to do a generous squeeze of lemon. Yes, there's emotes. I'm such an old person. Like, I'm sorry to anyone who signed up for notifications for my YouTube video to go live, because I totally screwed that up. All right. Okay. So now that we have the acid, we want to counteract that with some sort of sweetener, because otherwise it's going to be too sour. So actually, it's over here. I'm going to use maple syrup. I have one almost done and then one whole one. Maple syrup is definitely my sweetener of choice because I'm Canadian. Duh. You can use honey. You can use coconut sugar. You can probably use brown sugar, white sugar, whatever you want. It's a very forgiving recipe. So now I'm gonna kind of like smash it with my fork to the tahini to break it up a little bit, because this is not going to be immediately stirrable. It's going to need some work. It's I don't know if I can show you guys this without like pouring it out everywhere. It's going to look like kind of a broken emulsion right now. I'm sorry, YouTube. Can I do this? Can you see it like this? Oh, ew, it looks so gross. It looks awful, but that's okay. It's okay. It's you just need to work it a little bit. And then seasoning, obviously, I always put salt and pepper on everything. Salt is not the enemy, okay? Salt is perfectly fine. Yes, Adelina is awesome. I feel like she comes up in every video I make. My tiny house friend from across the country, out on the West Coast. Everyone on YouTube, if you're following me, you probably know her. Living big in a tiny house. She's also Canadian, which someone was making a joke about the maple syrup. Okay, so I like to put a little bit of cayenne pepper in here. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Just to, it just kind of, I don't know how to say this, like all the other flavors suddenly come alive with a little bit of cayenne. Okay, guys, I'm going to turn on the hood vent because it is getting hot in here. It is now very warm in this house. So please let me know if it's too loud. I did do an audio test ahead of time. I know it will add some noise, but I hope it's not too bad where you can't hear me anymore. So let me know if that's the case, if it's too hard to hear me. Okay, so I added a little bit of cayenne pepper. I'm gonna add some salt. And then at this point, if the consistency is too thick, you can add a little bit of water. Just add a little bit of at a time, and then mix it until you get the consistency that you want, especially if you're using it as like a salad dressing, as opposed to like a dip, which reminds me. My pita bread is in the freezer, so I'm gonna leave it out to thaw for a little bit, but I can also just throw it on the rack in the oven to heat it up. Okay, so now I have a giant mess on my countertop. Things are everywhere. This is great. I love it. Chaos. Kitchen chaos is the best kind of chaos, right? Okay, so you see this nice pink color, vibrant fuchsia. It's beautiful. So it's pretty thick. She's pretty thick, you know, like we like. I'm sorry, it was poor taste. I'm gonna put a little bit of water. So this is, I mean, Again, the sesame paste is very oily, but I didn't add any oil to this sauce at all. Okay, so it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. So I'm going to be mixing, tossing the stuff in the oven in 4 minutes, and then leaving the cauliflower and the sweet potatoes in there for like another 10 minutes. And then while I'm doing that, I'm going to make my little Greek salad. Oh, you guys cannot see. I said I wasn't going to move the camera. Oh, this is going to be a tricky maneuver. My tripod is on a table right now, but it's like right at the edge. So I don't think you can see it on Instagram. You can see it on YouTube, my little hanging fruit basket here where I got my tomatoes. You know how there's, I'm going to keep sounding like an old person. Tomato girl aesthetic is like a thing now on TikTok or whatever. I am the original tomato girl. I'm sorry. I'm not funny. I'm trying here. I love tomatoes. I used to get made fun of in school for bringing a tomato in my lunch bag. My grandmother would pack it with, this is probably why I attracted attention. She would put a little bit of salt wrapped in saran wrap, just like a little square of salt, so that I could sprinkle it on the tomato as I was eating it like an apple. It's my favorite snack. It's still, to this day, my favorite late night snack is tomato and cucumber with salt and maybe a little drizzle of olive oil. I don't want to call it a guilty pleasure because I don't feel bad about it at all. So, it's good to have in your diet for sure. Right now I have 7 tomatoes and I'm easily going to finish these by Friday. Lots of tomatoes. I can't wait until I can grow my own tomatoes again. But until the springtime comes around, the greenhouse variety is going to have to do. Obviously, they're not the most ripe right now, not the most delicious, but it's better than nothing. That was my timer or letting me know that I have 1 minute left. So before I go too much farther with the tomatoes, I'm gonna do a little tossy toss with the cauliflower. My dish rack is a little unstable. All the weight was at the back. Okay. I'm gonna turn the timer off so I don't bleed your ears. And bear with me for a moment while I check on this cauliflower. How is the sound from the vent? Is it too loud? Yeah, I just eat tomatoes like apples. I don't know, man. They're so good. Right. Woo! The shallots are getting nice and crispy. Yeah, definitely another 10 minutes, guys, and we will be all wrapped up, ready to go. All right, these guys are going back in. The sweet potatoes I'm not going to move just because I placed them nicely on that rack and I'm way too lazy to flip them all. So it is what it is. They're going to be fine, I think. All right, 10 more minutes. Okay, let me get actually, I can just reuse this bowl. I love cooking. Don't love washing dishes, but I also don't hate it because I have a beautiful view out my window of ducks, mostly of geese right now. Lots of geese. If anyone saw my Instagram, I just posted on my story the little family of cardinals. Oh my god, I can't talk about birds. I'm gonna get emotional. I'm gonna start crying. I love birds, guys. I love birds. I've been thinking of doing a YouTube video of going birding. What do you guys think? Should I do that? Should I bring you along for a little birding? Okay, I promised you a rant I forgot about. Hot sauce. Hot sauce. Okay, so you know how everyone's like freaking out that like you can't find sriracha anywhere, sriracha shortages, blah, blah, blah. Sriracha is overrated. And there are so many good chili pastes, hot sauces out there. There's literally so many. There's so many different brands. There's so many different varieties. So my favorite variety is from a vegan restaurant chain in Toronto called Fresh. It's just Fresh. Fresh Kitchen, I think, is like their Instagram account or whatever. Because, you know, not very good SEO when you search the word fresh. You're not going to find what you're looking for. But yes, this Fresh restaurant in Toronto, they have like 4 locations in Toronto. I think they have one in Oakville now. And they used to, because I used to eat there all the time, and they had this hot sauce that they made in store. It wasn't super spicy. I'm going to get a cucumber. Hold that thought. Yeah, not the spiciest hot sauce, but just like very flavorful. It's like a brown, thick paste. It's not like a drizzly kind of hot sauce, but it's so delicious. I would literally put it on everything. Remember how I was saying baked sweet potatoes? Drench it in this fresh hot sauce. I would literally use it on everything. Soups, stews. I combined both of those words. Chicken, dipping chicken in it, just like the absolute best. So they started selling it in bottles, and I was very excited. And then suddenly they stopped. They stopped bottling it. So I went to like 3 different locations, and they told me that head office doesn't bottle it anymore. So now I'm having a existential crisis because I don't know what to do without this hot sauce in my life. So if any of you who are watching this live in Toronto and want to ship me a box of free samples that you steal from the Fresh, or if you work at Fresh and can steal some of their hot sauce for me, I'm trying to scheme all of these different ways. I just finished chopping a cucumber. I just need to get my hands on this hot sauce. I don't care how. I don't care who I need to maim. My life is much sadder without this hot sauce. So I'm at a loss for words. Okay. I need to send this to Fresh, a head office, and be like, yo, guys, help a sister out, please. Please, take my money. Just take my money. I just want to buy your stuff. Please take my money. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to add to my salad is some feta cheese, and then a little drizzle of olive oil, salt, and pepper, and we'll call it a day. I also very disappointed in myself. I forgot to get olives. How dare I? How dare I not have olives in my fridge? Kind of sad excuse for a Portuguese woman am I? That's okay. I will do without this time. I do have olive hummus though. Let me show you guys the brand. Hummus is one of those things where like I've tried making it myself, but it's not way better than the store-bought version, and it takes so much work to make that I don't think it's worth it. You're gonna find those trade-offs when you're cooking, right? Like I know a lot of people swear by pre-minced garlic, and that's something that I never do. Like I said, my tzatziki is better than any kind that I've bought. But hummus, I can't say the same. So I just buy hummus pre-made. It would probably cost a lot less to make it yourself because dried beans are so cheap and also, just really great to have in your pantry. But this is the brand. What is this called? I mean, I don't want to call out brands. I don't know if this brand is a good ethical brand or not, to be totally honest with you. This is what I get at the cheap grocery store, aforementioned cheap grocery store. And it's olive flavor, so it has like a little dollop of tapenade, I guess, in the middle. But it's very pronounced olivey flavor, and it's so delicious. This is another one of these things. Cucumbers, tomatoes, and hummus. I go through a lot. Every week, I go through a lot. All right. I'm just going to crumble the feta on my salad with my hands because who needs to chop feta? I never chop feta. You just crumble it. Okay. Now I'm pretty much done. I'm just going to wait 3 more minutes for my stuff that's in the oven. And then I'll set a little table for myself, except you are on my table right now, everybody. You are sitting on my table. This is my dining table, like a fold-out table that I usually have tucked behind my dresser that I'm using to prop up everything right now. And again, I had a better angle planned for YouTube here, but apparently only my webcam will work. So I'm going to figure this out. I will figure out the external camera to go live eventually to do a little research. All right, is there anything else? So some other suggestions that I put out there for like toppings if you want. I would never recommend lettuce. Lettuce kind of sucks. But like arugula, spinach, like whatever greens you want, microgreens, avocado would be great. Halloumi cheese will be great. I'm going to use, when eventually this recipe blog goes out, you will see a lot of halloumi because it's like one of my favorite things in the world. It's a cheese. It's a grilling cheese. Actually, one of my friends that I've met through Instagram, also through the tiny house community, was posting in her story a vegan grilling cheese. That's basically what halloumi is. I don't know if you'd want to eat it raw. I don't know, like the way it comes straight out of the package. But usually you'd slice it up or cube it up and fry it in oil. And it's also delicious. But I wanted to ask her how the vegan version was, if it tasted any good. But that's another option that you could do for sure. What else? What do you guys put on pita? Like if you were to eat falafel or shawarma or something like that, what would you put on it? Yeah, that lettuce sucks, right? Lettuce kind of sucks. I like pickles or like pickled um, radishes. What's the one that's like the bright pink color? The pickled veg that you would get. I can't believe I'm blanking on the name right now. Anyone who like OG shawarma, I'm gonna Google this right now. I hope. Now I'm afraid if I open a new tab, is it gonna close my live stream? I don't think so. It also says I'm live streaming out of 2 tabs simultaneously, so I hope that's incorrect. Is it cabbage? You could put cabbage on this for sure. Pickled onions, that's a great one. It's like a root vegetable for sure. Turnips, pickled turnips, Lebanese pickled turnips. That's it. That's it. So good. I love that on shawarma. Garlic sauce, copious amounts of. I'm also gonna blank on the name of this, but it's like an emulsified. It's just like garlic and oil, but you need to stream the oil in like a food processor very slowly, otherwise it'll break and not get like nice and like whipped creamy texture. It'll just like turn to liquid. That's something I haven't tried making, and I'm sure I will fail many times at trying to make it before it turns out well, but that's the way most cooking is, I think. When I said it at the top that this is like a friend favorite, it's because I've made it a million times. So I'm pretty good at making it at this point. So I will share with you both tried and true recipes that I know turn out great, and also ones that maybe just turned out great on the first try. Sometimes that happens. But every time, even if it turns out great the first time, there are little things that you tweak to get the texture a little bit better. I do that a lot when I'm like, baking something. And if I wanted it to be a little more crunchy, maybe I'll add a little bit of sugar so that it like caramelizes a little bit, something like that. All right. Everything in the oven is ready. So yeah, take it out. Oh yeah, cauliflower looks good. Okay, I'm gonna need 2 oven mitts for the sweet potatoes. Go one mitt. Oh yes, they look gorgeous. Okay, let's see. Is my pita defrosted? Very nice. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys how I plate this up, and then I'm gonna peace out and fucking eat because I'm hungry. All right, this is past my usual eating time, to be frank. But that's okay. You guys said 7 was the streaming time, so I listened. Okay. What did I do with my little bread tag? Am I the only one who has like a stash of elastics and bread tags? Because I can't throw them out. Let me know if you're the same way. Okay, so I got my pita. Actually, it's still a little frozen. I was gonna cut it in half, but you could just like rip it up or just serve it on the side. I'm just gonna throw it in the oven for a second. All right. Where did I put my tongs? Oh, they're right here. Okay, so I'm gonna plate up some of both. Et voila. Okay, let me try to do this angle here. This is my thumbnail? Hello? I already have a thumbnail. I'm just kidding. They turned out great because of course they did. I know what I'm doing. Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna put a couple of dollops of my sauce in the middle here. A little bit of hummus. A lot of bit of hummus. Because why not? And I can drizzle the tahini on top, maybe. Let's see if I can show you guys the consistency of this. It's very thick. So definitely if you wanted this in like not a dip, you could add some more water. Okay, there you go. My little salad on the side. I'm gonna try to get a nice little angle of everything here. So you're seeing a giant pile of mess that is being hidden out of view. Okay, I'm gonna serve the YouTube people first, and my giant pile of dishes. Ta-da! While my pita warms up in the oven. And then for you folks, here we go. Ooh. You know what's killing me about this food blog is how do I get good photos without natural light? How do you get good photos of food without natural light? Because it's nighttime by 5 p.m. where I'm living right now. So the good food photos and videos, actually the one that I used in the thumbnail for like the preview, was taken in summer when I had nice sun coming from the side window there. And that is what's really hanging me up about posting my recipes on the website, is having shitty photography. Like I will not settle for less. So I'll wrap this up by saying the food blog is coming, guys. It is coming. I need you to give me a little more time because I can't wait to share my love of food with all of you in a way that you can take it when it's convenient for you and make it more convenient for you or customize it for your needs. I'm also very passionate about making it accessible based on what you have around you, trying new things, and just eating nutritious, delicious food. Healthy food doesn't have to be not enjoyable. Food, for me, taste always comes first, nutrition comes second, but it's usually not hard. I think they coincide together very well. And I'm really looking forward to sharing more about food and my long musings in written form on the blog. I will say that writing is not something that I usually do, but it's fun and I'm enjoying experimenting with it. So I hope you guys are gonna enjoy your dinner, whatever you're eating tonight. Maybe let me know in a comment if you're eating while you're watching this, what you're eating. I'm always curious to know. But I'm going to wrap this up, guys, and I'm going to start enjoying my dinner. So thank you so much for tuning in and joining me. I had a lot of fun, and I will see you guys again soon, hopefully. Have a great rest of your night.